位置についた。
The salt flat is a special type of hull that allies cannot be deployed on, but enemies can walk on. When walking on these tiles, enemies will have their movement speed reduced by 70% and will slowly sink. After standing on the salt flat for no more than 15 seconds, the enemy will immediately fall into the salt and die. This mechanic appears in all event stages. Boasting high HP and defense and -1 taunt level, the Salt Heap Cannon is a tough obstacle to take down. It will bombard a specific tile, unique to each map, dealing 1200 physical splash damage in a 1.5 tile radius. Ground enemies that walk by it with a weight of 3 or lower can be loaded onto the cannon, and they will be launched out of the cannon and go to the designated bombardment tile. The bridge builder will walk until they encounter a salt flat tile, building a bridge across. Once completed, the bridge builder will maintain the bridge for 150 seconds and not move. They are also invisible, so clearing them out with a fast redeploy or revealing them with an operator that reveals invisibility, like Silver Ash or Inez, are good picks against them. Additionally, enemies who walk on the bridges will no longer be affected by the salt flat. If the bridge builder is killed while enemies are on the bridge disappears and enemies will walk on the salt flat tiles again. As the grunt of this event, the risk-seeking sailors have low stats but gain 200% movement speed when walking on a bridge, or 200% movement speed for 1 second when launched out of a salt heap cannon. They also can be buffed by the explosive bosun to inflict 30% corrosion buildup equal to their attack when attacking. The Flyfin is a low hovering enemy, which means any crowd control skills like stun, freeze, or sleep will disable their flight for 8 seconds, after which it will take flight once more. They also gain a 300% movement speed bonus for 5 seconds when attacked for the first time. Additionally, it may sometimes enter the battlefield carrying a risk-seeking sailor, indicated by a barrel it will carry. After being hit, taking a crowd control effect, or dying, it will drop the sailor. The Garam Gourmets will spawn on the battlefield carrying a barrel, increasing their movement speed by 300%. When blocked, they will drop the barrel down, dealing 280% physical damage and create a field that doubles enemy attack speed and gives all enemies 80% physical dodge. This field lasts for 30 seconds, and you can actually silence the ability to prevent this effect from happening at all. The Salt Fin Shakers do physical splash damage when blocked, but move super slowly. However, on the Salt Flat, they are not only immune to its effects, but gain a 350% movement speed bonus. Despite their high attack and HP, they possess no defensive stats. The Explosion Chaser is a ranged attacker that deals arts damage. Their primary ability, every 15 seconds, allows them to target an operator in range and channel an attack for 6 seconds before launching an arts bolt at 300% attack power, hitting all allies in the surrounding 8 tiles and stunning them all for 8 seconds. As well, when coming into contact with a Salt Fin Shaker, they will ride it, becoming immune to the Salt Flat and gaining a 150% movement speed bonus. The Chaser will replace the Shaker's HP bar with its own. Once defeated, the Shaker will remain, retaining its original leftover HP before the Chaser began riding it. The Fierce Cooks have +1 taunt level and a directional shield. Their shield grants 80% physical and arts damage reduction, or DR, to attacks from the front, protecting enemies behind them and nearby salt heap cannons. The Bosun, when not blocked, do a normal ranged attack for 100% damage, and when blocked, do a melee strike for 3 times damage. Every 20 seconds, they will spawn 2 risk-seeking sailors to follow their path. The Bosun, as mentioned before, grant all risk-seeking sailors the ability to do 30% damage as corrosion buildup when they attack.
Isidor, ya van 2 veces en que casi me has matado. Y nunca nadie ha hecho eso antes.
Anastasio is an extremely adept fighter with a wealth of abilities. For his primary attack, when not blocked, Anastasio launches a ranged attack that does 50% damage, and it does splash damage to the 8 surrounding tiles of the target. When blocked, he uses a melee attack for 100% damage. His primary skill is called Administering Gospel. He stops moving and bombards friendly units with an attack range 10 times, each targeting the unit with the lowest corrosion buildup, and deals physical damage and corrosion buildup equal to 50% of his attack to the unit he attacks and the allies in the 8 surrounding tiles. If you've seen Irene's S3, it's pretty much that. He uses this skill every 20 seconds. However, he is not stun immune in Phase 1, so it's easy to bring a fast redeploy like Project Red or Thorns Alter to mitigate the skill's oppressive power. In Phase 1, he is immune to the effects of the Salt Flat. He also gains 80% physical and arts DR when within the 8 surrounding tiles of a salt heap cannon. You can tell because he gains a magenta shield. Every 10 seconds, he augments a nearby salt heap cannon to increase its explosion radius to 2.5 tiles wide for 6 seconds. Alongside these skills, he will use Administering Gospel every 20 seconds. When defeated, he revives over 10 seconds, after which he will teleport across the battlefield to enter Phase 2. If he already crossed the Salt Flat during Phase 1, he'll just reappear where he already was. In Phase 2, he loses his immunity to the Salt Flat and is invulnerable for 10 seconds and summons one Salt Heap Cannon to spawn at a preset position on the map. He gains double movement speed, plus 50% attack speed, and is now immune to stun. For his new passive, newly spawned enemies gain a 50% attack buff for 20 seconds, but lose 150 HP per second. When not blocked, he still does his ranged attack, but will also have 80% physical and arts DR, again indicated by his magenta shield, and when blocked, he does his melee strike, and all Salt Heap Cannons will lock onto his position on the map. For his final skill, Heart-Piercing Redemption, every 33.5% of his HP, Anastasio will be invulnerable for a short time and dash ahead, dealing damage to all units he travels through with 200% attack. After 2 uses, he cannot use this skill again. This is typically where I would wrap things up, but there's something I feel that's important to mention. Anastasio loses his Salt Flat immunity in Phase 2, because at that point he's already crossed the battlefield. However, with Shu S3, he'll be teleported right back where he was, assuming you kept him on the side before the Salt Flat. And this lets you easily cheese Phase 2 by blocking him before he can, finish walking across it. And you can watch him sink into the abyss of salt.
悪くない。